Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the NWI. My name is Annette Walters, and I have been in networking for well over 20 years in both traditional sales and national sales, as well as building my own businesses. Well, aren't I struggling over my tongue today? Today, we are going to be talking about pitching because when we get into networking situations, I have found that people struggle with networking because they just don't know what to say, or they get into a conversation that is just one in which they feel completely manipulated. Well, that ends as we work together to change business networking and start networking with integrity. Because pitching is definitely something that is outside of integrity. When we think of pitching, I want you to think of a used car salesperson or maybe those late night infomercials. You know how they just kind of in just bust into whatever you're trying to do, especially if you're up late watching TV and you come across one. It's a lot of yelling and convincing and, well, you got to get this, and, well, you're dumb if you don't, and that's pitching. In some ways, there are places for it. You might have a carny at the fair, or, somebody who is barking out about buying cookware. Something to grab your attention and bring you in. But pitching shouldn't be part of regular networking. Because when somebody is pitching you or you are pitching somebody else, I think we've all walked through that. It's uncomfortable. And if it goes on for very long, it starts to feel a little manipulative if you really want to tell the truth. And it's part of what people struggle with networking. I think pitching is something that goes on within business networking on a regular and consistent basis. And a lot of times, I think it's because people think, well, I've only got like 30 seconds, or what is that? The elevator pitch is 30 seconds to a minute. Well, I better pitch and convince you to buy my thing or hire me for a job or something. I want to change your mind. I want to control your behavior. I want to convince you to do that thing that I want you to do, whether you want it or not. I mean, no wonder we become skeptical when we're in business networking and think that it is inauthentic or manipulative. I mean, because really, when pitching starts, it's all about the person who is pitching, not necessarily about the person they are talking to or potential needs. When we're pitching, we can't even see their needs. There's no questions going on. There's no back and forth communication. Over the last couple of weeks, we've talked about how networking is about making connections. And when we are in front of someone who is pitching us and we're remembering that we want to make connections, the last thing we want to do is to be rude or to control their behavior or their their insistence on this one-way conversation. But really, in the midst of their pitching, what they're doing is that they are building a wall between them and us. And that's not how this is supposed to work. This networking is about building communication and relationships. It's not about pitching a product because it separates us and it prevents us from really learning about the other person. Now, let's talk about moving that, from a networking situation in a group into a one-on-one. This is where it can really become more uncomfortable because you take the time to schedule this one-on-one, and maybe y'all haven't been pitching like you shouldn't be in networking. So you haven't been pitching, but then people are like, "Oh, she's interested. I bet this is my time to sell insurance. Let's uncover whether or not she has insurance needs. So we go to the coffee shop, we go to the lunch, and we sit down and we think we're going to spend an hour together. Um, and if you follow my program, getting to know each other. But instead, you get this whole pitch session about why their company is the best and why we should choose them and how what we have is ineffective. And again, it's pitching. Now, when we go out to a one on one, that is an excellent opportunity to really learn about a company, to learn about the products. But it's not about being convinced. The difference between pitching and a conversation is that there's some two-way dialogue going on and a willingness to learn. If you perceive that the person in front of you has shut down or put up a wall, it is time to kind of reel that back so that you can get back to normal ground where they become open again. But so many times I have sat down across from somebody who has literally pitched me almost for the whole time. Now, standard one-on-one rules is that you each get like a half an hour if it's an hour that you've agreed to spend with each other. But those are the basic rules. Really, what should happen in one-on-one is that you should have this two-way conversation and get to know each other, maybe even learn that their kids play slow pitch softball or something. This is about helping each other out. But when we pitch, when we basically shove our information down somebody's throat, you talk about making a bad impression. What is that going to be the next time you see them at a networking event? They're going to avoid us with everything they've got. And when somebody notices that they're avoiding us, they will have no trouble telling that other person, that third person, how we tried to shove information down their throat in a one on one. When we're pitching, it's not nice, it's not respectful. And frankly, unless you are a late night infomercial host where you need to grab somebody's attention and convince them to stay on this TV channel to, potentially be talked into buying your new widget, that is the only place where that is appropriate. So let's take that pitching and just kind of put it down. Even when you're super excited about your product, when you know that this works or you've gotten these great results, be sure to communicate that information in a way that is not pitching, not in business networking, and not in one on ones. It's not the time or place. A couple of weeks, we're going to talk about one on ones, what to do, how to act, kind of questions and information to uncover. Because I think that's why sometimes we get into that pitching mode, is because we forget why we're there and what we're doing. Or we're just so desperate to make a sale or get a job that we just think, if I say enough words, they'll buy, they'll hire me, they'll see me and see me as valuable. That is not how this works. And as a matter of fact, it does the complete opposite. If these hints today about pitching were helpful to you, I encourage you to reach out to me or investigate the website. You can go out to thenwi.com, thenwi.com, which stands for Networking with Integrity, and check out more of what's there. In addition, you can contact me at contact@thenwi.com. And if you request it, I will send out the 3 best networking questions. These questions you can use at every networking event that you go to. And it includes a video to help you make these your own. No script is perfect. And as a matter of fact, when you're unpracticed and you haven't made it your own, it sounds a little inauthentic and you never, as we've talked about today, want it to sound like pitching. So let me help teach you how to network effectively, and this is your first step, and it's free. So contact at thenwi.com. My name is Annette Walters. This is Networking with Integrity, and it's time to make networking actually work. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you back here Monday at 8:30 in the morning. Take care, guys. Have a wonderful weekend.